Critical literacy is defined as the ability to take apart various texts in media or writing to find any possible discrimination that the author might have embedded in his or her presentation of the world, since authors have social and political influence.
But I think the core question that I'm arriving at critical literacy is understanding the relationship between representation, representation, discourse, text, writing, image, and reality, and what's out there. And that's the hardest thing, I think, right now.
The True Story of the Three Little Pigs by A. Wolfe. Everybody knows the story of the Three Little Pigs, or at least they think they do. But I'll let you in on a little secret. Nobody knows the real story, because nobody has ever heard my side of the story. Say is history. The news reporters found out about the 2 pigs I had for dinner. They figured a sick guy going to borrow a cup of sugar didn't sound very exciting. So they jazzed up the story with all that huff and puff and blow your house down, and they made me the big bad wolf. That's it. The real story.
During a classroom discussion, the teacher and the students evaluated the text from multiple perspectives. During a classroom discussion, the teacher asked, "Tell me about it. Our textbook. How did we feel about our textbook as a source?" And a student responded, "I don't want to use it anymore." Why? Because it's like always coming from the colonist side or perspective. It doesn't really talk about how the British felt or how they didn't like it. So it was pretty biased. But did you learn a lot from the colonist point of view? Yes. The students were able to recognize that the textbook doesn't show all perspectives.
B, C, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. No, not good, not good.
Just the sounds that words make.
Cat, dog,
Calamari.
yeah. Trash on the beach.
Oh, good.
Farm fresh. My son and I mowed the grass.
What's the Gold Star?
Gold Star.
Unbelievable. Dad,
Hey, Tubbs, I read your book.
you read my book.
One of the things that is really interesting, or certainly was very interesting to me as I was learning about slavery, was that what I was learning felt like oppression, even though I didn't have that language at the time, and tyranny. The other interesting thing was that I was the only dark-skinned child in that classroom when I was first learning about slavery in the Dominican Republic. And while I was absorbing and internalizing the tyranny and the oppression, my white classmates were receiving the same exact story, but they were internalizing it from the perspective of superiority and supremacy, even though no one ever said that to them. The thing about being racially illiterate is that it blinds us to the various forms of oppression. While it's obvious how people of color are oppressed, it's not always so obvious and visible when oppression is hidden behind privilege and tucked under the loss of community, wealth, and power. So what do we do?
To defend ourselves and fight against assimilating this dullness into our thought processes, we must learn to read, to stimulate our own imaginations, to cultivate our own consciousness, our own belief systems. We all need these skills to defend, to preserve our own minds.